Hey everyone, it's Robbie again, doing my speech on the TED Talks, which I really rather enjoyed. I definitely drew into mostly from Sir Ken Robinson. I could really relate to his humor. It really drew me into his speech and gave me a lot of great pointers on how I can improve on my own. What I believe he was trying to communicate in his speech was that creativity as a whole is just as important as literacy, and us as a whole, that our creative side is taken away or kind of changed. It's redirected away from who we were as children and our thought process, and we are put on a path that society has deemed correct, in the sense that math are at the top, and that's what everybody wants, and the creative side is pushed away. And so he really focuses on talking about that communicate that creativity is just as important, and it's one that we need to readdress society. For him, he uses the tools to communicate is through humor and personal experience. Really brings in the crowd, because he brings up topics that everybody can relate to through, and by drawing on his personal experience, people see him as sympathetic and they can understand more what he is addressing, and really she is passionate about what he's talking about because he can draw on it from his own life. It's very effective in a sense because it makes me think about me as a whole, and makes me experiences regarding creativity, and go thinking back into school, how when I first was younger, that I wanted to be a musician, that I loved to sing, and in school that was great at a younger age, but as I continued to get older, that was pushed more aside because it was not as important to the school. It might have been on my top priority of things that I love to do, but to the school, they were more focused on making sure that the rest of the education was more important than helping me be creative and continue on into that side of my life. So by so, by uh, Robinson trying to bring us in by humor really helps connect with the his speech about the three boys. How the first one went up there, did it perfectly. The second boy did it perfect, and then third boy, even though he obviously didn't know it was right, he still took a chance. And that is the point that he tries to make throughout his talk, is that even at a young age, we as children will try, even if we don't know we're going to fail, we will still try, because that creative side of us trying to succeed is still there. We have it beaten out of us the older we get, that mistakes are bad, that we should not make mistakes. For fear of punishment, we lose that creative side of who we are, because we are more focused on what will happen if we fail. And that is one of the biggest issues that we as a society face, is that we are taken away from that creative side of thinking because nobody wants to fail. But failure leads to different outcomes. It leads to a more creative side for who we are as a whole. And then in the next one I watched was Mrs. Adichie. Her speaks about feminism, and same thing as Robinson. She drew on personal experience to really draw the audience in, to show that she's very passionate about what she's talking about. She lived through the life that she's drawing on, that we as a whole can relate to, and that touches us on our own personal level, which I think is exactly what TED Talks are about, and how they serve us, is that the gift of human imagination. That is the purpose of the TED Talks, is how we see ourselves as a whole, and our imaginative side needs to be brought out in our society, and as a whole it's going to help us all become better and brighter for us as a as human beings, and for our future of our children, continue to live out this world. And it all just depends on how we keep perceiving life in itself. Um, so I really enjoyed these talks, you guys. I really hope you all get something out of it just as much as I did. That you definitely we can all relate to these videos in one way or another. And just remember, the biggest thing I gathered is by drawing on personal experience, you can connect with your audience and really draw on the fact that it will help bring them in to an understanding of what you are trying to get across. All right. Thank you so much.